We are back from the EULCS studio for the return of one of the most famous organizations in European esports, the Ninjas in Pyjamas. Well then, this will actually be a rematch from the last time NIP was in the league, but a lot has changed since then. The NIP Fnatic matchup back in the day looked a little bit different. This is such a throwback, I love it.
Yeah, this is it's quite some time ago. Yeah. I think actually at this point, the only players still remaining in the EULCS are, funny enough, Soas, as you can see there on Fnatic,
yeah.
And then Mythy as well, who joined in that Season 3 summer split, and it's been some time.
I guess that Bjergsen guy doesn't...
he's over in the NAS,
well.
yes, so he's
okay.
still playing, and Freeze also is still active.
Yeah, and the interview god, Mimer, also.
Mimer was extinct before that, and before that, Godbro, Sven Skaren, you know, a lot of known names.
And now I zoom in on the Fisho's face now, he's come a long way.
A lot has changed, a lot has changed, both me and NIP.
All right, but let's talk about the actual current roster. Obviously, NIP, a big Swedish gaming organization, a lot of history, active in a lot of esports, and they now put together a roster that we aren't completely sure about. We don't know what it's going to bring, but I think everyone's kind of erring on the side of, let's be careful. We don't really know if this team can make a big dent.
And I think the reasons for that is, despite having some prestige with former SKT players, the other players on the lineup have not necessarily been in their prime recently. You look at a player like Shook, has the potential to play well. Nagne has the potential to play well, but this is a new lineup, not in their heyday, and maybe this might not click as well as NIP would like them to at first.
I was going to say we saw the old lineup that might be confusing to people, but it is Prophet, Shook, Nagne, Hikyu, and
I'm not playing?
Yeah, no, you're not.
You warmed up?
No.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not warmed up, that's for sure. But no, this lineup here, as you say, Stress, like, Shook is a man where in his prime, which is a few years ago, he did have some of these like massive carry performances, but we haven't seen that in a long time. Bot lane as well. I think NIP with Sprata and Hikyu down there, it's going to be a lot of let's try and survive on that side, and let's try and play around Prophet and Nagne, the two guys coming over from, of course, Korea here, and well, LSPL from Nagne recently, and then Prophet from SKT. If Shook can actually play around these soul lanes well, that's where I see an opening for NIP. Exactly, and you mentioned Prophet, the former SKT player. He is really the superstar of this lineup. In the top lane, he now goes up against Soaz. This is a guy that theoretically, you know, playing on the 3-time world champions, should be able to control a game in the EULCS, you would think. But of course, it relies a lot on his team, and going up against such a storied top laner like Soaz, it's not going to be easy for Prophet to waltz in here and dominate the lane. I like his playstyle though, kind of like the old M5 way of playing, like see hero, kill hero style, like super aggressive in the way he's playing. And if he has backup around him, yes, he can play aggro. But you're against Soaz, who's a guy who's been playing for, I don't know, 6-7 years by now.
Feels like 1,000.
Feels like 1,000 almost. You know, he will most likely pick a tank and try and just not fight against Prophet a whole lot. And then it's going to be an issue for NIP if they don't have other lanes that can carry. Yeah,
and we saw from Mysterious Monkeys earlier that sometimes it is tough, that first match on the big stage. And now for NIP, they're up against Fnatic, obviously, who had a fantastic opening match 2 days ago over the Misfits and just had a fantastic start. And they look like a scary team to go up against in your first match.
Yeah, Fnatic looking as one of the top teams in Europe, you know, setting off where they left off. Jez is playing fantastically around that bottom lane as well. Fnatic really look like a top contender here. So as for first opponents, it's difficult for NIP to really give them a whole lot of influence on this game because Fnatic looks so good.
Yeah, and you know it's not going to be a slow game either, where NIP can try and like really figure out what's actually happening, because it's going to be fights in every single lane. We know how Fnatic are playing so aggressive right now, and we hear basically every top team in Europe talk about Fnatic as one of the legit contenders, you know, that can try and dethrone G2. They're obviously not there yet, they haven't actually done it yet, but they are looking very good. And I think each member on Fnatic are actually playing really well.
And I think they have a play style that can even pull apart the strengths we expect NIP to have with that top lane. Is, remember, Fnatic swapped up to the top side very early on after taking the first tower, and if you can hamstring Prophet, suddenly NIP don't look so scary. So if Fnatic have that tower push style, I think they're heavy favorites on this one.
Yeah, so Nico de Pico grudge match against his old team. So you guys want to do
about that guy.
Do you guys want to do predictions?
I mean, 2-0 Fnatic.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we'll see if Fnatic continue their strong form as we are ready for our last series of the week. Take it away, Dracos.
Not very.
And Betty.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Not you, Vetty. Sit down. Good evening, everyone. I'm Daniel Dracos, joined by Vetty, as you already know, Andrew Vettius Day. And for this series, it's going to be pretty exciting. NIP coming in versus Fnatic, and of course, we're going to be highlighting some individual performances at the end of the day, so be sure to tweet your LCS big plays of the week at LO Esports using the hashtag EULCS. Bedias, what was your big play so far?
My big play? Probably the really cool play, the all-in combo that we had down the bottom lane from the Roccat and the G2 series, the Wombo combo, the Galio Syndrome.
You're taking a long time to explain to me this big. The Wombo combo, did you tweet it?
Wombo combo.
Did you tweet it?
I didn't tweet it. Someone tweeted it for me.
He's a bad employee, but don't worry about that, because we're going to check out the lineup starting on the blue side with Fnatic. In the top lane, it's going to be Soaz, jungle Broxa, mid lane Caps, AD carry Reckless, support Jesus, and their acting coach Finley, Quay, Stewart.
Meanwhile, fighting on the red side, in their return to the European LCS, we have the Ninjas in Pyjamas. With their top laner, Prophet, and the jungle is Shook, their mid laner, Nagne, AD carry Hiku, their support, Spratel, and their coach, Nico the Pico, Korskard.
All right, I'm assuming you know how to pronounce that. Of course, Nico the Pico grudge match highlighted a little bit here. We'll see what he can do with an entirely fresh roster. A lot of question marks around it, as they said. Prophet may be the potential strong point. Who knows what we can expect from Nagne, however. The LSPL is often mysterious. We saw Cacao, did not expect a lot from him. He came in swinging on the side of Misfits. Maybe it'll be a similar story for Nagne in his first game on the EU stage.
I think we just need to set the premise that we don't really know what NIP will bring. Like, we have no real expectations. We feel that they are not entirely strong. It's a brand new roster that's just come together in order to perform here in the EULCS. But going up against Fnatic, you think, especially with their current performance, it will be a tough road for them to climb. But this will be a great opportunity for them to show their stuff and demonstrate to Europe what they do have. And
see what they want to opt for in picks and bans, what kind of style they're going to bring out today. We're already into the thick of it. Fnatic on the blue side, NIP on the red, Lucian banned away, Kennen to follow. Maybe we'll see a Fiora as well in the trend of taking away those aggressive top laners. Or aggressive 80 carries in the case of Reckless, Zac banned away. Nothing special here. I feel like this is standard from what we've seen so far.
What is interesting is the fact that Fnatic are the ones to ban away the Zac, because typically you do see it as a primarily red side ban because you want to be able to first pick it if you can if you're on blue side, but Fnatic have also recently been banning a lot of Xayah. Interestingly, they're going to keep up with that trend, giving Ninjas in Pyjamas a little bit more freedom in terms of what they want to ban away.
And the Thresh now taken away from Jesus. Already 2-0 on this champion, put up a monster performance in the third place match against Misfits. He just wanted to keep the ball rolling so far into the season. NIP not interested, and I think it's been interesting to see how Thresh has been rising in terms of pick priority. Not often a character last split that we would have seen as a priority at all.
Well, what will be a priority is the LCS. Very big contest right now in the current jungle meta. Lee Sin has kind of fallen off. Graves has fallen by the wayside as well. It's all about the Spider Lady for the time being. But we do have very quick responses from the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas.
A lot of confidence in this draft phase. Nico the Pico clearly ready. As the team instantly locks in the Galio, the Ashe. Now Ashe power in lane. Galio, we can safely say maybe a little too strong right now as far as top laners go, and definitely a safe pick into the vast majority of what top laners can bring to the table. But Fnatic, they've already got the comfort pick and the power in the form of Elise for Broxa. Let's see what else they want to round
everyone
out.
Got their bingo cards ready for another game of Reckless.
Twitch, do you want to play? What item will he build Frozen Mallet? Is it third? Is it fourth? We don't know. That's the joy.
I am very surprised that they would look to pick the Twitch now. I think that it is very difficult to play during the laning phase. Very likely the Ninjas in Pyjamas will go for something like a Zyra to have a lot more laning power. If they don't choose to prioritize it now, that then gives the window for Fnatic to start banning these things away. But given that they've early picked a powerful mid laner for Caps 2, they could look to take things away like the Fizz, like the Echo, because Nagne, for those that don't know, was very well known back in the day for playing a lot of these assassin-style champions, especially in the LSPL. He's recently been playing a lot of Kassadin. So I'm interested to see what Fnatic look to try and target to make sure that Caps can have a safe middle lane.
Yeah, interesting to see because Fnatic, a lot of strong individual picks here. Comfort for Caps on the Syndra, very strong mid laner. 80 carry for Reckless, something he is known for in the Twitch, Elise to follow. But on the opposite side, Ninja in Pyjamas feel like they're building more of a composition than just strong individual picks. You've got the Kha'Zix and the Galio to pair together the Engage from the Ashe. And as we enter the second ban phase, looks like tanks will not be the answer to any potential problems in the top lane. Shen and Gragas both taken off the board. Interestingly enough, Braum banned away. Fnatic does not want to see a wall go up against that spray and pray.
So we're now opening up the avenue for Soaz to go for something a little bit more carry-orientated, something like the Kled, maybe the Fiora as well. Both those big top laners that naturally do pretty well into the Galio are free for him to try and prioritize. So perhaps we will see a bit of a return for Soaz to play that carry style up in the top half of the map and look to try and make a couple of plays.
And it's interesting too because Soaz has been vocal in the past about not preferring to play those tank picks. I mean, many seasons ago, of course, about the Maokai repeatedly played every game. But now it does finally get the opportunity to play carries and may get to do so more consistently, as teams will need to find an answer to this Galio pick. Karma now locked in for the side of NAP. Not clear where it's going to go yet. Could be the mid lane, could be the support position, but either way, I don't feel like there's anything really too crazy here. Even for Fnatic, this doesn't feel like an insane pick. We've seen Twitch in a couple different players.
Yeah, no, I think that this is very standard for Fnatic. I think that right now what you could go for is Lulu is still up and available, so you just guarantee a nice bit of protection for the Twitch. And for Soaz, you've gotten yourself that split push. I'm a little surprised that they would go for the Camille in this match, especially seeing as we have seen Soaz play the Kled in the past, but it still fulfills the role of that split pusher that does well in terms of scaling up against the Galio. Eventually he'll get to a point where he can no longer 1v1 that Camille, and you'll be able to play this 1-3-1 style with, what is it? Oh, it was a bait! I should have known! I should have known!
Fnatic bingo, folks. Mark another one off. Weird
I should have known!
Camille, maybe support, maybe Jarvan support at this point.
It's certainly, it is for sure Camille support. Jesus did bring it out during the regular season in the second half of the split. He is that playmaking individual. He likes to bring it out here and there, and it gives you a little bit more power during the laning phase, but it also gives Jesus the opportunity to have a similar kind of game like he did on Thursday.
And this is not the Camille of old. This is not the permaban Camille. She has seen nerf after nerf after nerf after nerf, so there's a lot of questions as to how effective this pick will be in the new patch on 7-10. But Rumble going to come in for the team on the opposite side. Prophet mixing it up. They're opting to send the Galio into the mid lane. I like this shift coming out.
So we've seen this a lot in the LCK, Galio mid lane. Usually you still go for the full tank build. It does nice thing to the Syndra because you can match her kind of wave pressure, and you aren't really likely to die to her either. So it just mitigates a lot of what Syndra tries to do in the early game, and it is very conventional for that Korean style of play. So the fact that they have a reliable engage, or fairly reliable engage in the form of the Ashe, they have the Galio plus Kazik kind of pseudo follow-up as well. I'm excited to see this big team fight composition the Ninjas have drafted towards these more split push style of Fnatic.
See what Fnatic opt to do here. Depending on how you want to show your support, folks, not your fort. All right, Twitter's the place, at LO Esports, hashtag FNC win, hashtag NIP win, depending on where your loyalties lie. Now, two very interesting compositions. I believe the first Galio mid we've seen so far in the hands of Nagne, a player we have so many questions about.
Yeah, Nagne. A lot of eyes will be on him. We heard DeFisher say earlier on the desk that he had a lot of question marks surrounding how well he will be able to perform in Europe, and I feel like Caps will be a good test mark for him to see how well he can hold his own here.
Well, Febiven was the test for CosQ, and CosQ failed. We'll see if Nagne can put up some better results as the new member of the LCS. FNC on the blue side, NIP on the red. Camille in the bot lane. Galio in the mid lane. Everything's mixed up.
The funny thing is, like, this isn't even like a non-meta draft.
The Galio mid lane.
Like, a lot of this stuff is we've seen around the world. Like, it has been brought out. It's just Camille was played a lot by teams like Splice. It was heavily banned away from them during the spring season. But Jesus did bring it out a few times. During the laning phase, it gives you a surprising amount of all-in power. And especially against the Karma Ashe, sure, you still get pushed in. Once they hit that level 2, level 3 mark, their all-in power is pretty strong.
Oh, Soul Flare comes out. No hesitation on use of the mantra there. Cap's still going to walk away, just taking a little bit of damage. We'll still have time to back out. No vision placed by NIP either. So just hoping to get a little bit of damage down, maybe scout out where the enemy is going to be. Soaz and Prophet well aware of each other, but no early blows yet.
What I love about the draft as well was the fact that Soaz picked himself the Jarvan, which is a good matchup into the Galio because you're able to get a lot of armor penetration out of the matchup. You have a lot of pressure, and eventually you'll scale into the late game where you have more split pushing power. But their intentions of NIP were always to move him to the mid lane, and now you have a slightly more favorable matchup for Prophet because he'll have pushing power. He's also on a comfort pick. This is something that he brought out a lot when he was playing for SKT. And come the late game, he's not going to be so hard pushed out that he won't be able to match the pressure of Jarvan, and it really adds a lot of team fight value to the composition that NIP have drafted.
And very interesting too, because both of these guys are going to have a ton of damage in the early laning phase. Either one could look to snowball it if they get the opportunity, but for now, a little welcome back to the LCS for Shook. One creep going to get taken away by Caps. Will help him out in the mid lane there, but nothing else taken away, so not as bad as it could have been. And for now, Justice's Camille pick is just going to get bullied out and pressured in this bottom lane.
And this will be a big opportunity as well for the bottom lane of NIP, because they are playing in a matchup where they need to be constantly applying this pressure. You want to be denying this Twitch as much farm as you possibly can. And when you're playing a bottom lane like Ashe and Karma, you're in a prime position to do just that. So when you're going up against Reckless and Jezzes, you need to keep this pressure. You cannot afford to play scared. You cannot play safe and just look to get through the lane going even.
Because eventually people are coming to your bottom lane. And if I had to guess, it would be the Camille level 6 that will herald their arrival. You also have Soaz on the J4. No tools for the Karma or Ashe to escape that Cataclysm outside of those flashes. Major cooldown. They can't afford to burn this early on. But the lane is definitely going in their favor for now. Using the power of the Karma, using the power of the Ashe to keep the pressure up. Now that means we have to keep our eyes on Broxah and see what the Elise here can do in the early game.
A little surprised that we actually see a Corrupting Potion coming out from Soaz. I mean, it still gives you that sustain. It's still a perfectly fine pickup. But one of the things about the changes to Draw and Shield was that the Flame Spitter resets that tick of the regeneration, so it actually can be an effective itemization that will help you into those damage over time abilities. Instead, Soaz is just opting for a little bit more of an aggressive option, because when he does pop it, he gets a bit of extra damage out himself. So you just see Broxah hanging around the top side.
Well, that's rude. Lights him on fire, walks away. Prophet looks like no knowledge whatsoever of Broxah waiting in the bush, though. That does mean he's going to have freedom to continue roaming around the top side of the map, unbeknownst to the side of NIP, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to make an impact right now. Prophet doing fine in this lane so far, but once again, only 3 minutes in. We can't really expect blood until around the level 6 mark.
And just look at the respect that he's showing as well to Broxah, who's already level 4, has done a full clear aside from his Krugs, and he was posturing around the top half of the map, and that's why Prophet went to clear out that Blast Cone to prevent any of those sneaky ganks from happening. Naturally on Rumble, you will just push the lane. It is an inevitability, simply due to the Q ability that will just clear out and do so much damage to the backline especially. So he's just showing a lot of respect, and I like this, especially in his first game here on the LCS.
And we wanted to see which shade of Prophet we're going to see. Was it going to be the LSPL, all carries all the time in the top lane, or are we going to see the LCK, Rumble, more tank picks as well? It is the Rumble here in this game 1. Of course, for those of you unfamiliar with Prophet, substitute top laner for SKT, played 9 games over Huni over the course of the LCK Spring Split. Pretty solid record, too. Yeah. But also, you're on SKT, so.
Yeah. Huni did find his form, and when you have two talented top laners, or when you have a very talented top laner, it becomes difficult to be able to contest him. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, we do see a gank from Fnatic.
Go forward, Scatter the Weak, gonna land the stun. Broxah walking in, going in slowly, leaps up to dodge the taunt. Nagne gonna flash out, Shook is waiting. Broxah sees the opponent, they are not gonna pursue. They do, however, get the flash out in the end for nothing on their side.
So he does get away with his life, but fortunately for Nagne, he has a teleport available, so he shouldn't lose that much. We'll give him the opportunity to go back to base, so if anything, he's just saying, I was going to leave anyway. And now he will be able to return, but he has to be careful because Broxah and Caps are hanging around.
Shook very aggressive here to keep pushing forward, but sees the Caps has no mana. Wants to punish him for sticking around that lane. They push the tower just a little bit further. No way Syndra can safely farm, or rather, reliably last hit without those abilities with Galio pressuring her.
Nagne very soon to hit that level 6 mark, so he can start to look for opportunities in the side lanes. If Shook wants to try and maybe gank top or gank the bottom side of the map, he is immediately going to be able to respond. And that is one of the advantages that you have by running this Galio in the mid, aside from the fact that he can also hold his own against Caps.
Going forward, Broxah trying to turn the fight around, but there's the damage reduction from the Galio. Grand Entrance going to come in, Spider going to go down, but gets over the wall. Soaz wants to turn this one around. Good damage coming in. Who's going to be first blood? Shook still alive. He's running for his life, but that's Fnatic. Bringing it back to the first blood. Now it's Nagne who's in trouble. The equalizer turns, but that's a complete whip from Prophet. Not now how he wanted to start his show on the stage. Fnatic just going to walk away with 1 kill.
And such smart play from Broxah, because he sees the ward get dropped by Shook over the other side of the wall, and he then immediately uses that to make his escape. He then flashes away to buy time for Soaz to join the fray, and that is where things start going in favor of Fnatic. Beautiful early plays that is going to give Fnatic an early gold lead.
Fnatic definitely coming out on top there, but I like that we're already seeing aggressive moves coming in from NIP, but Fnatic responding with an aggressive move of their own. So that's just going to walk this one down. Where's the Dragon Strike at? We're looking for a flag and drag. It's the Cataclysm. Dragon Strike just to close it out all too easy. You hear the crowd. They're happy to see Soaz going off here. Jesus, though, going to be in trouble. There goes the Soul Flare down. Good damage, but they have to respect Reckless waiting in the brush, waiting invisible. He's not going to push for more. But Sprout, man, Sprout is hungry. So aggressive in this bottom lane.
And very quickly, the top half of the map for NIP is starting to fall apart. They lost their jungler, they lost their top laner, and unfortunately for Prophet, Soaz just got first blood. He went back to base. Born Item immediately TP'd into lane and went aggro. Prophet, he didn't have a chance to go back. But let's have a look at how this play's set up, right? So Shook feeling very confident because he has the support of the Galio. In this 2 versus 1 setup, he's guaranteed to get the win. But then Shook, he drops a ward over the wall, which Broxah then used to go escape. And that just buys time for Soaz to arrive. He's then primed and ready to be able to get the kill. Broxah walks out with his life. And then this Rumble ultimate. He expected them to keep chasing Nagne. He wanted to try and defend, but the fight
continues. Not about that. Shook gets stunned up. A flash to extend the range on that wall dive. Jesus knows his mechanics, even as a support player. He helps Broxah pick that one up.
And question marks around Shook. Why are NIP trying to invade when they do not have pressure in mid, when they don't have that same level of pressure on bot?
I agree, but when we look back at that first play, why did Shook drop that ward, man?
Yeah, I mean, I have many questions. I don't think he needed it.
One player also famously made that play, the young Nian Tonso.
Nian Tonso?
Back in the day, the perfect escape route created for an Elise, and it's always just brutal to watch. Maybe thought that there was an alternative route for the Elise to get out, but small mistakes like that appear to be the bane of NIP right now.
Because that would have been a kill, right? That would have set up NIP very nicely. You would have had Shook already off to a good start. And then if Soaz is coming down, you then have Prophet for the potential collapse as well. So just very small individual misplay there from Shook. Regardless, pressure now on in favor of Soaz once again. He's really starting to win that matchup pretty hard after picking up that early team out. And look, you can see he's already working towards that Hex Trinket as well. So the top lane not going as ideally as Prophet would have liked.
Remaining even in farm, but we'll look at what happened here with Shook.
So just look at the bottom lane. You can see that the bottom lane of NIP are quick to respond, but Shook, he just takes a little bit too long to get. Rather in the middle lane, we see that Caps had already been able to push out the mid, which means that Caps gets down there first, and the bottom lane of NIP cannot support Shook, especially after he overextends a little bit after not being able to get that red buff. So again, just a small misplay there from Shook, not properly respecting his opposition.
And these little mistakes just start to add up. Now, it's nothing major yet for NIP, but it does mean a 1.2 gold lead on the side of Fnatic. Clearly in the driver's seat for this game, although NIP continue to try to make plays here onto the opposition. Have to praise them for being aggressive. So many teams play scared in their first game, but you can't afford those executional errors if you're going to be the one dictating the pace.
And bear in mind in the bottom lane, we talked about how if you are Hikyu and Spraddle, you want to be continuing on with your pressure down on the bottom side of the map. And unfortunately for them, given the shenanigans that have occurred recently, the farm is still fairly even between the two AD carries. Reckless, he's been able to get a fair number of daggers working towards what you expect to be Blade of the Ruin King into Runan's Hurricane. And so this bottom lane for Fnatic, they're still looking promising. Caps, he's already completed his lost chapter. And Fnatic, they have full control so far over the first 10 minutes of this game.
And will help so much to keep the pressure up there against the Galio, because while you see all MR just about in the inventory of Galio, he still just has so much pushing power with the Winds of War. An incredibly obnoxious champion to play against. So Cap's not playing scared. Just continues to go for those aggressive trades, tries to whittle down the health bar of Nagne. Jez is now leaping forward. Hextech ultimatum comes out. Now Spraddle is trapped and he's all on his lonesome. Shook is coming in. There goes the Galio. Can they take him out before he arrives? No, he lands on the ground. Spraddle still alive, and this one's starting to turn against Fnatic. Shook gonna clean that one up. No, Nagne gonna take the kill. Now he's hungry for a little taste of Broxah. Let's see if he gets it. Shook gonna sweep it up. And that's definitely looking good for NIP.
Now this time it was a good response from NIP. Fnatic, they were the proactive players. They tried to get a collapse down onto Spraddle, but immediately Nagne on this Galio there to provide support. Being that hero that Spraddle needed to turn the fight in their favor. And NIP, they very likely could get themselves first tower blood in game 1 of this series.
And the gold now dead even. Moves across the map, but here's going to be the boon for NIP as they pull ahead to a 1K gold lead. But can they keep the ball rolling? We've seen a lot of these teams get ahead early leads, even when they're considered the underdogs. Can they keep this going? Can they stay one step ahead of Fnatic?
One of the big question marks that we as a broadcast team wondered was, like, you have 2 Korean imports along with 3 European players. What's the communication going to be like on this brand new team? And I love the fact that NIP are so swift to respond to each other's plays.
Fnatic looking to respond back. A little bit of damage coming out. Stun goes on to Nagne. Taunt onto Jesus. He's just going to walk away, though. No damage on the Camille support, and unfortunately, Caps swinging right into some MR.
He is known as a Colossus for a reason. And now you will see this setup from Fnatic. So 3 members try to get the collapse. Already Hiku saying, nope, I can't do anything. But then the moment that Galio ult comes in, Rekkles gets zoned away from the fight. The members can just focus down onto the support and jungler of Fnatic. Caps arrives far too late to really redeem the situation. And it results in 2 swift kills going in favor of NIP.
Just a brutal spot to be in, too. But Fnatic, they're already striking back. They're already looking to even out the gold here as they pressure out on the bottom side of the map. NIP have a plan of their own, though, setting their sights on the Rift Herald, maybe hoping they can break open the top side of the map. But it's a TP to the bottom lane. Fnatic smell a base race, and they're not afraid to take it.
The reason why Soaz is TPing to the bot side is because they want to get this tower down before NIP are even grouping up on that tower, because they realize that the moment that Rift Herald goes down, it almost guarantees a structure for NIP, so they can trade it by taking 2 down in the bottom, and overall, it'll make things at the very least even in favor of Fnatic.
Now pushing, looking to get their second tower in this trade. We look at it now, Fnatic finding a gold lead for themselves, but the Rift Herald's up and available. Ash just continues to push on the top side. HiQ not dealing a ton of damage here. He's the only member, but Spartle's going in to back him up, maybe hoping to clear the wave. It's not about PvP right now. It's just about trying to break those towers. Where will the Rift Herald come in first?
Very likely mid lane. You want to try and take that down as quickly as you can. You have a minion wave support. Spartle also on his way down. And Caps, he shouldn't be able to wave clear this on his own. But look at Jesus and Broxer on the flanks.
Rift Herald may be focusing on the turret, but Fnatic are focusing on the champions. Nagne's going to have to flash the Cocoon. Caps doing what he can. Of course, Rift Herald vulnerable to that CC in the eye. Easy as ever. Knock that character down. So not even 1 tower going to fall. But Jarvis now heading to the top side. HiQ, not a whole lot of tools in his kit to deal with it. But he's already backing off, and Soaz going to give him the respect.
I think a control ward was spotted by Soaz, and he realized, you know what, I'll just take the gold for this rather than overchase for a kill. But I feel like NIP were a little bit too quick on the trigger to use that Rift Herald in the middle lane, because you have to remember that Fnatic, they were still grouped up in the bottom half of the map. They were getting vision on the blue side of NIP's jungle. And so that means that they could move around to the mid lane, have 3 members there, zone the rest of NIP off the tower. And then it results in the Rift Herald very quickly dropping down. So NIP not quite able to take down that mid structure, but still even overall in terms of towers.
And of course, only going to get harder to kill this Galio. We can see the itemization coming in for Caps, has the Morello finish, but no magic penetration yet, whereas Nagne, he has finished that adaptive helm. Will make a lot of the trades in lane even easier, and he's going to buy a Null Magic Mantle on top of that. Pretty clear what someone wants to build up against the Syndra, and especially for a Galio.
And I very much like the adaptive hell, especially into Syndra, because it does reduce the damage. So when you get ulted by Syndra, the damage gets heavily reduced, right? It's actually very effective into that matchup in particular, so I like this early itemization. Just gives you a little bit more survivability, and again, mitigates what this Syndra is so well known for.
And it's interesting, too, because multiple sources of damage from the Syndra ult, right? So getting that 15% negation on all of the balls is pretty huge, or after the first, but now they have to be careful. Nagne is in trouble, is going to get the taunt down, but they're trading aggro perfectly on the side of Fnatic. TP coming in, Nagne under the tower. They can't do anything about it now. Equalizer goes down, Rekkles is in trouble, he flashes out. Tactical sweep to try to keep it going. Jesus, the long-range arrow comes in from HiQ, and they're going to get him down. Fnatic are the ones who overstepped.
Good snipe there from HiQ, just as Fnatic were trying to escape. We're identifying how tanky Nagne really is. He just bought so much time for Prophet to arrive. And again, bit of a questionable ultimate. Equalizer really to try and hit as many members as possible rather than to cut off their escape. But still, the damage is done. NIP pick up another kill. For the time being, they're holding their own against Fnatic.
Dead even as we check the gold at 16 minutes. Level 11's coming out, and immediately at level 6, the plays start to come in. Going to come even faster now as the ult cooldowns start to get reduced. What is the next move, Vedius? We're still far away from Baron. There's an Ocean Drake on the table. There's still some outer towers left up and available. Where do these teams need to go?
Well, for Fnatic, they're still working their way towards that 1-3-1 setup, right? They're not behind, which means they don't have to try and force any big 5 versus 5 fights. They're just working towards those big item spikes. So Twitch very likely wants to get himself the Runaan's Hurricane along with that Blade of the Ruined King. Same for the Jarvan. He wants to complete that Black Cleaver and very likely complete a Hydra item as well. But for NIP, they're still buying time themselves, but they want to be able to try and force these fights. So keep an eye on Baron, as Sproul takes a lot of damage.
Ooh, all traded for Exhaust. Would have been a kill, but actually the range on Syndra ult not quite long enough to be free from the exhaust range. Now that does mean Ocean Drake will drop in the meantime, and the pressure just continues to mount mid as Sparta will be forced back. But no kills coming up on either side.
So we'll get a replay of what happened up top lane. So just bear in mind, you get damage reduction on the W hit of Galio, so that's going to mitigate a lot of it on top of his resistances. And he's just sitting there for about a good 4 or 5 seconds waiting for the TP to come through, and then the arrow from downtown is guaranteed to hit at least one of the 3 members. And even if it can't guarantee a hit onto 2 of them, it still results in a kill for the side of NIP.
I like how when he Q contributes, he gets a cinematic angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. When 80 carries go off in a Fnatic game, they get extra special treatment. Hits the arrow from long range. We'll make it easier for the team to set up those kills. We'll have to keep our eyes on him as we move forward. Blade of the Ruined King for the Ashe. Zeal to follow. Similar story for Reckless on the opposite side, although he's a little bit further behind. Doesn't have the luxury of the 3 assists or the additional farm, but it does mean that Fnatic are going to start to pressure out on the top side. Jarvan is there. Elise is coming up. 4 members strong. Only Caps left the lone protector of that mid lane tower.
But you can see Caps really struggling in terms of pressure in the middle lane too. Nage is at a point where he is not even remotely afraid of Caps, and those minions are just going to keep hitting onto that tower, which means that he can look to move around to the side lanes. Jarvan is sitting in the top side. He's going on to Hiki.
Looking for a little bit more. Hiki needs to get out of there. Flash out, but the Cataclysm comes in. What can they get back? The arrow's going in, but Reckless spray and pray down on the backside. Here comes the Galio. Soaz gets a little bit of a knock up there, but Nagne just going to have to hold on to that tower.
Yeah, just out of range of the Galio ultimate. Fnatic doing the special, sitting in the brush, waiting for a pick. But now they may have very well found Jezus, or not, as he is able to clear out a control wall. But Fnatic, this is the opportunity that they were looking for. They get themselves a pick, and now they can look to try and siege onto the top half of the map of NIP.
Or onto Shook's jungle. He's trying to take this red buff. Jezus running in. Attack Tweak comes out, and Broxic is going to take that one away. No more health regen, no more slows coming in for Shook. And Fnatic are definitely winning this game right now, Vedius, but this is much closer than I expected it to be. But of course, as I say that, poor little Prophet may have overextended, but no. The Queen's going to go wide. Scout of the Week not going to come out, and that means that he's just going to have to back off here, but gets to keep his life.
See, to me, it feels like the Fnatic have control, but they're not quite winning yet. They don't seem to have such a big enough advantage that they're stopping NIP from doing anything that they want to, because we're seeing Nagne and Prophet constantly moving off to these side lanes, still being able to get control over the lanes, and then the rest of NIP is still able to get a bit of vision. They had good vision control around the top half of the map, especially around Baron. Dragon isn't going to be spawning soon, but with Baron spawning up within the next 10 seconds, that is what NIP want to be playing around. They want to be able to get a little bit more control over the map as a whole, and to do that, they need to be able to take this mid tower. So I want to try and see NIP forcing something, because I think that they have the composition to do it. They reached that level 11 point where you've now got a second point in your ultimate 2. So I think that they are in a good state right now to try and force a 5v5 fight.
Hesitating, though, maybe a little on pulling the trigger or waiting for the appropriate circumstances. They do have level 2 Equalizer, you said, so huge there, as well as the level 2 Heroic Entrance. A lot of engage potential, a lot of damage here coming in for this composition. Not using it yet, however. Caps, apparently more than enough to just hold this tower for himself, although the rest of Fnatic is now here to back him up.
Note the second item, Void Staff. For those interested on whether or not on deciding what to buy second against especially high magic-resistant targets, ADMR is about the mark that you want to use. If your opponent has that, then get yourself a Void Staff, because then it becomes way more efficient than getting any other AP item. You can see Caps respecting that. Now, they actually have priority around mid, as NIP, they dropped the ball a little bit here.
Just backing off. No one there to clear out the waves. Where's the Galio, the Rumble? Not going to do it. And that means Fnatic is going to pick up a free tower, start to extend that gold lead. They've already got an Ocean Drake. Why not back it up with an extra 2K as well? And they're the ones getting the control around Baron. They're the ones with control around the top side of the map. NIP were so aggressive and active in making plays earlier, but it looks like communication's starting to break down at least a little bit.
And I like the fact that Fnatic are shifting in terms of their vision. Because remember, when we look back in their series versus Misfits, the reason why Misfits could so regularly contest that Baron was largely because Fnatic were not putting their vision deep enough, were not threatening Misfits when they came towards the Baron. But this time round, they've been able to get a little bit more control after taking that mid lane tower, and they want to make sure that NIP cannot use Baron as a point to draw Fnatic into a fight.
So as waiting in the brush is going to get the flag and drag to knock up Nagne. Now a lot of MR on that champion, but not a whole ton of armor. Ladies and gentlemen,
damage.
Whenever this fight ends, we'll be sure to let you know. But for now, it's tanks hitting each other. Nagne, no magic damage shield. Flag and drag goes over the wall. Taunt going to come out. He needs to make it out to safety. So as no Cataclysm, means Nagne may just be able to walk away on this one. One more EQ to sidestep. Not going to find it. That means he's going down. Cap's going to grab the kill.
But what is the rest of NIP doing while that happens in the bottom lane? That was a lot of time invested,
Roxa.
and they're just dying.
Zoss comes out, saves Spraddle once again. Goes in, but Justice is there to back him up. Shook is hungry for blood. Here comes Prophet. Where's the equalizer? Not going to come out.
So we question the communication of NIP when you have Nagne drawing 2 members down to the bottom half of the map for at least 10 seconds without NIP being able to gain anything, whether it be apply a bit of pressure onto the Baron, whether it be to try and take that mid lane tower. You have to wonder what is going on within the NIP comms, because you feel like that was a big window that NIP could have used to try and punish Fnatic.
Definitely an opportunity, but also a little bit on Nagne, spending a lot of time on the bottom side of the map. Now we see 3 wards, though, in the jungle. That is the only sign of what Nagne died for, that little bit of vision. But it means they're going to give up an Ocean Drake. They're going to give up pressure across the map. And this is kind of unfortunate. This is something we saw already a lot of in the Mysterious Monkey series. It's just when a member of your team gets caught out, when they die for whatever reason, it just cripples your ability to make plays anywhere on the map.
Yep. Well, speaking of plays, Reckless. Oh, never mind, in the mid.
Cataclysm coming in. Nagne, a lot of MR and 2 magic damage dealers, but still not enough health. Gonna try to heroic entrance out. Cap says no, and yet another kill on the NIP mid laner.
And Fnatic are just continuing on with their assault, moving so as around the map. The flag and drag combo being more than enough to facilitate these engages for the rest of Fnatic to follow up. And Nagne, as tanky as he is not a one-man army. And Fnatic are more than poised to pick up a free kill when they see it.
And we have to praise Fnatic for their adaptation. The few early plays that they did make went wrong when they all in on someone where Galio could come in to save the day. Now they say, hey,
let's get the Galio.
Who can't save Galio? Well, it's Galio. So let's take it down.
Heroic entrance this. Now Spraddle.
Potentially in trouble. Oh, no
Outplayed.
exhaust. There's the outplay button.
Spraddle, he doesn't have any resistances. He's not Nagne. The moment he gets caught out, it's another kill for Fnatic, another tower, and Fnatic, they're starting to put on a clinic as NIP drop 6,000 gold behind.
Yeah, 6K gold lead, massive 24 minutes into the game. Soa's not going to walk into a fight with Prophet, but can just wait for the next opportunity to fight with the team. Reckless, doing his best to push this in. Nagne can look to clear the way, but has to be careful, has to respect the missing members of Fnatic because NIP have so little vision on the map. 1 ward by that Dragon Pit, 2 in the topside jungle of Fnatic, and 1 in the Baron Pit as well, but that is it.
And the thing for NIP is, we have to remember, they have the Ash Arrow. And aside from that one up in the top lane and the one down in the river to save Spraddle, we have not seen NIP really use it to start a fight. It's always been as a response to whatever Fnatic are doing. And at every point in this game, it just feels like Fnatic have had control, even though NIP have options to try and fight back. They just seem to be playing a little bit scared, a little bit too afraid to try and make anything happen. Because remember, at about 10, 15 minutes into the game, these 2 teams were dead even. Yet NIP, with this fantastic teamfight comp, have yet to try and actually make a teamfight happen.
And Fnatic not going to give them the opportunity, right? Consistently looking
at
to
this
pick
point,
members
yeah,
off. But NIP need to find the circumstances, and it's not going to happen if they keep having to split up across the map, if Fnatic can keep finding ways to divide them. And Fnatic now with absolute vision control of that Baron area. Well, NIP are going to have to fight. Yeah. We hope that that's what they want, because Fnatic are definitely not letting them get anything unless they're willing to give up that Baron.
Now, look at the bottom lane. You can see it's pushing in favor of NIP. They're mindful of the fact that Fnatic are posturing around this Baron area, so they're trying to get vision. This could be a big fight.
Flag and drag goes over the wall. Spraddle potentially in trouble. Keep your eyes on the equalizer. Where's it going to go? There's the heroic entrance, but Spraddle still goes down. Camille knocked up. Nagne on the front lines. Not a whole lot of damage, though, for NIP to back up that engage. Did his best to save the teammate. It's not going to happen. In goes Jez as he interrupts Shook. Now comes the Hextech ultimatum. He's trapped in the cage. Shook does flash out to safety. In the end, Fnatic still taking control of that fight.
And Sprado was obliterated before NIP could even respond.
Caps. Almost the double.
But the job has been done. Fnatic have forced NIP back. They got themselves a kill, but they're going to take it safe. They do not want to just rush towards the Baron, especially with the TP still available on Prophet.
And Caps, that was so close to the double kill. He thought he was going to get his cake, or have his cake and eat it too. He's like, all right, I'm going to ult this guy, and then I'll probably scatter the weak on this guy, and they'll both die. Did not work, unfortunately, but does bully both of them out.
But look, you can see here Fnatic, they're just like, this is an adaptation from their series of misses. This time they are punishing NIP as they tried to clear out the vision. And sure, that damage reduction is very helpful, but when you have a 3-item Reckless, or 2.5 rather, hitting onto that very squishy support, there's just not enough defenses that you can provide, enabling Fnatic to very swiftly pick up that kill. And they almost made it a second, but they're looking to do that now.
Hey, we've seen this before. Nagne running for his life does get stunned up. NIP maybe hoping to find a fight in a funnel so they can use the most of that equalizer. Not going to get it here, however. Fnatic just say, nope, focusing on the mid lane tower. We're going to zone you off with the Caps, with the Scatter of the Weak. Shook. Skill button comes in, not quite enough to take him down. However, Caps burning on the side. There's the arrow onto Jesus. Maybe they're going to look for a little bit more. EQ has finally joined the party. Nagne is here as well. Redemption comes in for a bit of heal on the team. Taunt goes in, but it's Soaz onto the back line. Heroic entrance. They're looking to regroup. Nagne running forward. 3 members strong of Fnatic chasing him down. Look at the low health bars on NIP, but there's the damage. Jesus, no hesitation as he goes over the wall. Nagne gonna burn down as Reckless grabs another kill. Fnatic are cleaning up NIP. Shook hoping that Caps can't see him. And he is gonna make it out in the end, but Caps not giving up yet. Got one little raptor to throw in the face of the jungler. Soaz still chasing as well. It's an absolute slaughter, folks. Golden Aegis providing the slow. Soaz
he shows mercy, whereas Caps does not. Fantastic team fight from Fnatic. The fact that they were constantly switching positions, making sure that the front line had an ability to recap by time for their cooldowns, the back line then move forward to then be the damage dealers. It was just fantastic to watch. Fnatic now extending to an 11,000 gold lead. The Baron is theirs 29 minutes into the game, and Fnatic are looking poised to take game 1.
I think it's pretty safely in their hands at this point. NIP are going to need to make a miraculous play or wait for a interesting fumble on the side of Fnatic.
Can they pull something from their pajamas? We'll see. But regardless, what you see is Caps just standing there, being the zoning tool purely with his ultimate. Jez is soaking up so much of the damage, being surprisingly tanky, thanks to the passive shield that you get on the new Targons. And then Nagne, even though he TP's in, he's not a slight threat at all, right? So Soaz, he's free to come back. He sees the back line. He has nothing to be afraid of, and so he's just like, I will kill you. And then just watch. Jez rather, he gets very low, he then moves back, Broxah move forwards, he then gets a little bit low, so he backs, and then Soaz comes in from behind. So you have this constant swap back and forth from Fnatic, playing these fights exceptionally well, guaranteeing that they don't lose any members for the maximum number of kills.
And here's to this point in the game where it is so difficult to do anything as NIP. Not enough damage from the Galio. Rumble not tanky enough to go face-to-face, and even Kha'Zix jumps in. He gets right into the face of the enemy team, but NIP, they take a page from Fnatic's book. Jezis, Hextech ultimatum to dodge the knockup. That's a clean play. He's just buying a bit of time, though, and he is going to get taken down. Prophet burning on the backside, but the equalizer comes down. Nice Zonias. Stop the unleashed power, but NIP, they're still chasing. Caps wants to turn this back in the team's favor. Soaz coming in. There's the flag and drag. Exhaust immediately onto him. Cataclysm to lock it up, but it's only going to be Nagne. Out comes the Redemption. Going to look for a little bit of healing. Caps tanks the Soul Flare, but it's not enough. Reckless does take down Nagne in the end. Fnatic just destroying NIP on the turnaround.
And you'd think that NIP, they'd buy a little bit more time. Being able to get 2 kills is fantastic for you this late into the game, because maybe you can stall. But then Soaz joins the fight. He's ready to turn it around, but I don't think NIP are done yet.
Desperation, Shook moving forward. Bye-bye, Spraddle. That's not the play that you wanted. Soaz is fearless. He'll look for the 3v1, but Caps and Reckless are there to back him up. Spray and Pray now off cooldown. I think we can safely say goodbye to the hopes of NIP here in game 1, as he's just going to look to rip Shook apart. Not going to find the kill, but will settle for the inhibitor.
Big objective picked up for Fnatic. They don't lose very much after NIP forced an engagement. They get themselves 2 kills. Things are looking slightly brighter for NIP, but then Fnatic, they're able to turn it around. They're going to get another tower as well. 4-0-6 Soaz. This man has been playing fantastically as he returns for the summer split.
Nagne, Profit. Big question marks. We wanted to see what they could do this game. Well, right now they are being crushed by their counterparts. Shook. I don't know what he's hoping for here, folks. He's going to keep running after this. Maybe just looking for a desperation play, holding on to hope in this game, but he does get stunned up. Decent damage comes in. Hextech ultimatum ensures that he is trapped in the team, but there is Caps, there is the damage dealer, and that is the death for Shook.
He's dead.
Questionable.
He's very dead.
Very dead.
Shook has not had the best game. Giving that escape over to Broxer, going for the early invade. Lost a lot of early pressure in favor of NIP, which Fnatic were very swift to capitalize on. But the key difference I feel that we're seeing is NIP never really tried to force anything. They never tried to make anything happen to either get ahead in the game or get back into the game, aside from that sneaky brush play down in the bottom lane. Whereas Fnatic, they've always been proactive. I love the way in which, like, we saw that the sneak in from Soaz up in the top lane. We've seen plays coming down the bottom side where Jez is trying to hook in. I feel like the fact that Fnatic have constantly been proactive is the key difference between these two teams.
And every play may not have worked out, but they're constantly trying something. They're trying to get something on the map at any given point. And really, it just feels like NIP don't quite know how to respond to such an aggressive playstyle coming in from Fnatic. Of course, Soaz just continues to pressure in. We saw the damage graph earlier. Jarvan out-damaging a Rumble. Nearly unheard of, and definitely showcasing a very good game for Soaz.
Oh, fantastic. He's even got himself the GA, and now the second
even got himself the lap span. Oh, Brock's going to be stunned up. Equalizer does come down. That's a nice one into the backline. It zones out Caps and Reckless, but is it enough? Soaz is simply too tanky. Can they burn through him? Redemption's going to come in, but not enough healing. Yes, it is. Guardian Angel available as well. Flag and drag out to safety. Jezis, hook shot, wall dive over. NIP burn everything, but get absolutely nothing.
But Soaz, he can just go back to base, TP in. The rest of Fnatic, they're looking healthy, and NIP, they've ran out of ultimates.
And Reckless is just waiting for the perfect positioning in the backline. There's the spray and pray. Oh, that's so much damage. You can't let a Twitch do that to your team. He's just destroying everyone. That's the triple kill going in. The rest of the team looking to clean it up for him, or it very well could have been that Penta. They're going to keep going. Goodbye to HeQ, and that's going to be win one for Fnatic in this best-of-3 series.
Very clean play overall from the side of Fnatic. NIP, they were holding their own for the first 10 minutes, but then a few small mistakes giving windows of opportunity for Fnatic. They were not afraid to jump through those windows.
Absolutely not. What's a little broken glass? Now, I feel like I like what we saw from NIP in the early game. Very similar to what we saw from Mysterious Monkeys. Good plays, solid early game, but as we see with so many young teams, it's once you get past the early game stage that things start to fall apart a little bit, and it wasn't just macro plays, it was some of those execution moments, the ward from Shook in the early game. Maybe we can see a little bit of a tune-up going between game 1 and game 2. The stage jitters out of the team now. You can see Nico the Pico comforting the squad. They look back, figure out what they need to address going in.
The key difference I noticed between the two new teams joining the LCS was that Mysterious Monkey seemed just ready to fight all the time. They were very keen to just drop into that skirmish, see if they can get a kill here or there, whereas NIP just seemed a lot more calm and calculated. Well, they wanted to try and play the slow game very early on.
4 members of NIP, but Shook very much wanted to fight.
Yes, he definitely was in the face very often in the side of Fnatic, but that often ended up being a detriment to his team rather than a positive.
Well, we'll see how it shifts. Fnatic kick off the series with a win, and Shox and the guys are ready to tell you just how they did it.
Thank you very much, Drake. He's just finishing his notes there. I was noting
down some Vedia's points
okay, so what did Vedia say? It feels like, obviously, the analysis will go much the way of it has of any team that is going up against the kind of stronger teams. They always start off pretty good and then it completely falls apart. But in this case, we also wanted to highlight NIP's draft, as that was quite exciting and you guys identified it as a big strength.
Right. I think whenever you're drafting against Fnatic, it can be difficult. Maybe that's one area Nico the Pico, his expertise with the Fnatic tricksiness. We actually kind of liked the NIP draft in the sense that they were able to play around what Fnatic were throwing at them, getting themselves, the Galio, and then moving it to mid should do okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I liked some of the ideas behind the draft here with flexing the Galio to mid so they could actually get a counter pick on top side or try and get a counter pick on top side. And they already drafted winning bot lane. So there was a lot of things in terms of pure laning phase that looked fine, but then there were things in game like Prophet dying, 1v1. Like, that's just unacceptable at this point here. Nagne, obviously, trying to just go even mid, but then he also a few times has almost no communication with the team, and he sits mid, and there's a fight happening around him, and he also ends up dying because he overextends, and it kind of made the draft fall apart, because as we're going to see later in some of the replays, it just meant that once NIP went into the mid game, they had almost no ways of actually playing out this comp, because they had fallen a bit behind from some of the laning phases.
And that's one of the things when you look at what NIP were trying to do, is this composition, if ahead, can force fights quite effectively, utilizing the Ashe arrow, but from behind starts to really struggle to get fights started. The one surprising thing was the two players that were overlooked the most in this NIP lineup perhaps looked the best, and that was the bot lane. Spratl and Hiku, for the beginning of the game, actually, in a winning lane matchup, took it to Reckless and Jezzies and punished them quite hard, got a lot of damage down onto that tower. So I think that's a good surprise for NIP fans if you're looking at a lane that perhaps a lot of people had overlooked.
Also against Camille's support, which does ass in the early game, man. That does nothing early on.
What?
I'm just saying, it's bad early on. That's all I'm saying. That's all
Replay, run the replay.
Run the replay. It's got the tape. Anyway, the first replay is actually also involving Spratl.
I wasn't kidding.
Hiku down the bottom lane.
Yeah, it was.
Take it away, James.
We were seeing Jezzies go aggressive, and this is one thing that maybe the Galio can do against the Camille, is when somebody's put into that ultimatum, you can protect them for a lot longer, and then NIP are able to convert the fight because Jezzies was low from jumping in, Brox is already backing away, and then they turn it into a tower bot lane. So good utilization. This was maybe the one time NIP were able to get this comp to work.
Yeah, exactly. So this was really important for them with the first tower, and then sadly, kind of after this, you know, where they get the Rift Herald, they don't get a mid tower from it, and them not getting the mid tower kind of cost them a lot, because it made it so difficult to play against like Reckless on Twitch and of course Source on Jarvan. And we know these two guys together will always try and make plays in a side lane. If you don't have the mid tower down, you don't get any deep vision, and you don't actually really get to spot them when they are roaming around, other than, you know, if they walk into the river, which they so rarely will do. So the next replay highlights the most classic Fnatic play at the moment that will happen in almost every single game. It's actually the wrong replay.
Yes, I knew this was coming, because it's, you know.
Well, let's run this replay of Jess's dying top lane, which is definitely not the Fnatic play, but
This is the classic Fnatic play.
I'll try to talk about the actual Fnatic play, which involves Soas.
Let's just talk about this one first.
Well, I mean, okay, they dive a Galio with 40.
No, and the arrow is actually very nice. Very nice.
Arrow was great from Hiku.
Yeah.
Gotta give him that credit. But like, dive at the Galio, it's really hard, full tank, damage reduction, all that kind of shenanigans. Anyhow, either Soas or Reckless will sit in a side lane. The other team will be like, I'm gonna go lane against that guy.
There you go. Oh.
That's super easy. This is a different replay as well. So let's just look at me, camera on me right now, and then we talk about this play.
One.
Okay, that camera over there. Basically, when you think you can actually go and fight Reckless or Source on his own, they're never on their own. It's every single game. Then this other guy will pop out on a Twitch, or the Jarvan taking a brush, and NIP, because they had no vision, fell right into the same trap as we've always seen. They actually put them really far behind, and they couldn't do anything with their comp.
Prophet tried to do it, Nagne tried to do it at one point, going aggressive on Soaz, and then didn't quite realize that the Jarvan can very easily 1v1 the Galio down, and unfortunately a lot of these things pulled the game in Fnatic's favor more and more and more, and they set up Baron, and you can't really do too much once Fnatic have that Baron and they're so far ahead.
We spoke about it enough. We're now going to take a look at the replay just, you know, to punish you, because you didn't want to analyze the one that we did have lined up for you. What do you get paid for? Oh no, they are going to play it.
No, this is the one before the Baron.
Else.
So this is where Fnatic actually are going aggressive, and you can see that NIP get chunked down so heavily, and they can't get their comp to work for them. Caps was a monster this game.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
You look at it, the amount of damage he put out, the stuns that land, and you can see this is just Fnatic, as Vedius was talking about, very comfortably balancing who's in the front line all the way through the fight.
And also, again, the reason NIP can't make the comp work is the comp is very defensive. Like, it's a lot of, you know, we try and kite back. The hard engage on that comp is basically an Ashe arrow against a cleansed Syndra, so it's really hard to force something against, like, Caps very specifically. It's hard for Ashe to kind of move forward in a fight as well, and there's no one really engaging other than her. So when the fight breaks out and you're already behind, you get a bit of damage, and one guy from Fnatic can just step out of the fight, and no one can actually follow him and kill him. So they keep being able to bounce in and out, and NIP just can't kill the right target.
Right, and Fnatic just plays that out wonderfully. Again, they're now on a 3-game winning streak, and honestly, all the 3 games we've seen have looked very, very convincing. So we're going to have to see if that continues in the next game, and if the Ninjas in Pyjamas can strike back after that loss. Game 2 is coming up right after this.
We'll get the replay for PGL. It's okay.
Good damage coming in. Who's going to be first blood? Shook's still alive. He's running for his life, but that's Fnatic.
Let's come from lane.
Nice. Oh, coming.
There's the damage. Jez is no hesitation as he goes over the wall, not making a burn down as Reckless grabs another kill. And Reckless is just waiting for the perfect positioning in the backline. There's the spray and pray. Oh, that's so much damage. You can't let a Twitch do that to your team. He's destroying everyone. That's the triple kill going in. It's going to be win 1 for Fnatic in this best of 3 series.